Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal ones. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm a little far away, but I don't usually have a setup meant for something like this, so this is what I could create at its best. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, I usually make gaming and other kinds of videos. This is going to be a little different. This is going to be my personal thoughts and reviews on one of my favorite shows, just Siren by Freeform. So I first want to start off with what the show is about a little bit if you're new. Although most people who are going to be watching this, I assume, are caught up and have been watching it since it started. So the show takes place in a town in Washington called Bristol Cove, known for its legacy of mermaids. The show focuses around two marine biologists and one mermaid named Rin. The story follows the events of these characters building a relationship and learning more about these mythical creatures in a modern day perspective. They still have their siren songs in every aspect, from mythology and other mythological stories that involve these creatures, but it gives it kind of a scientific look at it, like with how the siren song affects a person, what it does to their mind. Anyway, I just finished the third season, and I want to say I am hooked still. I am very hooked at where we left off, and like I said before, I'm assuming most of you are all caught up, but for those of you who are not, I'm gonna warn you, there are going to be spoilers in this show. Spoilers in this review, excuse me. So, I want to go into character development, what I think of, what my personal thoughts are about characters, and why I like them or dislike them. One of the very first people I want to talk about who I didn't like at the beginning, but slowly changed and is now one of, if not my favorite character, would be Xander. Xander starts off as this angry, vengeful fisherman, as we know from the first season. I can't remember too much from first season, so I'm just digging what I can in the back of my mind that I can remember. But as you know, he started off as a fisherman working for his dad when they first caught one of the mermaids, who was not Rin, it was her sister. And at that time, he was still curious about mermaids. He wanted to know more about them. So first thing that happened where his arc kind of starts is when he convinces Ben, our Ben and a couple of his other friends, to go out to the ocean where they first caught this mermaid. All right, but once they get there, they're attacked by Levi, who kills Xander's father. And what really gets him angry, he starts becoming so vengeful, so hateful towards mermaids. He just is this angry guy that you can't really seem to like till the first half of the second season. From that moment to that moment, he's just staying as this vengeful person. Doesn't seem to have much character. Doesn't really have much development to him. He just really is angry and has it out for Levi. But then things start to get interesting, because after their attack on the oil plant back in season 2, he loses the North Star, which is where his character development starts to really progress, where it really starts to happen. After this, He got a new job at a bar. He was helping Calvin out of his gambling problems. I'm not sure how exactly that happened. Again, it's been a little while. That was season 2. And season 3 just finished up. And then after that, he goes working for the police. He, I don't remember. This, like I said, you're gonna hear me say I don't remember a lot of things. This is from the little bit I can remember what I do know about the show still. He starts going to a police academy training so he can be a better protector. He wants to protect his friends, the ones he loves, and he wants to overall just be a better person. And during the one scene, he develops a relationship with one of his trainees, and there's one scene with Rin's baby where Levi and the dad, I don't know his name, were taking the baby to Ocean. And Xander, he wasn't convincing at all, but he acted like he had no idea what was going on. He did his best. He didn't rat out Levi and the rest of the mermaids to this random girl. I can't remember her name. Again, he made sure nobody was hurt in this situation. And after that, what really boosted my respect for him was when I don't know how he did it, but somehow he was able to get Donna's body and Helen's relatives out of the military base where they were doing the research. Again, I don't know how he did it. He somehow pulled it off. That is when my respect for him just skyrocketed the most. And I think the most amazing part of it is because he did it not because he was being selfish, but because he wanted to do it, because it was the right thing to do. He wanted to do it for Helen, and think about it. His and Cammy's relationship never started good. It got better. I don't think they're real good friends, obviously, but they tolerate each other now. We don't see them around each other as much as we did in season 2, but their relationship has gotten better, I believe. And despite how she always felt about him, he still went out of his way to do that for her. So they could put Donna's body back in the ocean. And I don't know what they did with Helen's relatives. I don't know if they reburied them or what happened. But he has the best development and the best redemption of a character, I think, in this show, which is why he ranks so high on my list. Second, I want my second favorite character besides Rin and Maddie and Ben is Helen, as I mentioned before. She was always the wise person. She knew all about the mermaids, and she was always good at keeping her promises. She took care of the mermaids when they needed to be taken care of, when they were on land. She went out of her way to find Rick, which was also something else I thought was really sweet for her. Sweet about her. She lived the longest time thinking that she was alone. She didn't have much family left. And then she found out about Rick, who is part mermaid as well. Well, they have mermaid basically what it is they have mermaid DNA in them from a long lineage from their family. They can't transform, but it's part of their DNA. So their story was interesting to me because I was curious. I was happy for Helen that she was able to find someone else like her, be able to find family besides Ben and the rest of the Pound Wolves. And also another interesting arc for her was her relationship with Sarge, which I am happy and disappointed about at the same time. When we see Sarge on screen, he was usually guarding that tank, he wasn't talking really that much. But what was good, what the best thing about his character was is there was a few moments where we got to see him slowly develop this small relationship with Helen, and they both genuinely seem happy with each other. And what's so disappointing about it is that he dies not even through not even at the end of the season. He survives through half of the second season. That's it. And that just kind of disappointed me. I was sad about that because I was really interested in this arc. I was happy for Helen, and I just was sad we didn't get to see more development with their relationship. There's a few times again where Helen sees Sarge's spirit, I believe is what they were calling it. But they were just but really that was him just warning her about war coming from Tia. It seemed like there wasn't really much else besides that. Except maybe the one time where Helen has a vision of him and she goes in the water with him. And thank gosh she didn't get hurt. That scene scared me the first time I saw it. And overall, I think Helen is definitely the go-to person, the wisest of the characters in this show, and definitely the most compassionate. She was good from the beginning. She still is a good person, and I really hope nothing happens to her. Like during the season 2 finale where Ben has his vision, supposedly if the mermaids were revealed. I'm just gonna call it his nightmare. During his nightmare, we see Helen taken away by the military, and they're in pretty much. I'm just gonna come out straight out. It was a concentration camp for mermaids. I could talk on and on about that episode because it just tore me apart, as I'm sure it did a lot of other people. But that would take a really long time and kind of take me off track of what I would want, the rest of what I would want to talk about. Okay, so third on my list is obviously Rin. I don't know where to begin. She has the biggest this development in the story. She starts from this innocent kind of I'll say it, forgive me for saying, kind of dull personality that doesn't really understand what's happening around her, and but and absolutely works. This is her first time on land. She doesn't speak English. She slowly learns, but there is so much good in development from her. She slowly finds her humanity. She develops a relationship with both Maddie and Ben. She leads her people during their time on land when they're struggling to survive. She was always supportive of everyone, even Katrina, who I'm sure a lot of people hate almost as much as they hate Tia. In the end, right before Katrina slit herself, Rin even wanted her to come back. She was willing to give her another chance to return. They had their fights, but Rin still wanted the best for her. She still wanted her to have something that she could. Basically, she wanted the best for her and always wanted her to have a good ending. She becomes a mother and is very protective of her child. There is just so much in depth depth in development from Rin. And obviously I'm pretty sure she is definitely everyone's favorite of the three of Ben, Maddie, and Rin. Speaking of Maddie, who I think most people can agree is definitely the smartest of the three, she's definitely the wisest of the three. Like during the scene where Ben is slowly developing a mermaid physical appearance, kind of, when his hand kind of turns into a mermaid hand when they're on the boat out in the water, and Maddie is genuinely concerned for his safety. She's telling him he needs to stop taking these stem cells, and she's the one who basically is the word of reason for the three of them when they're together. Also, on her part, this ending, the final episode for season 3, there is a death. Her dad dies at the end of this season, which it didn't really break my heart, but it still shocked me when it happened. I was just like, jeez. Like, I felt so bad for her because whenever he was on screen, he was supportive of her. He was, in a word, amazing. He was truly the amazing dad Maddie made him out to be. And he was always forgiving of her. He wanted the best for her. He wasn't. He didn't. Sorry, again. Still thinking. Yeah, this is my first time doing this. This is all just coming to me at once. He was always raising her properly. Her mother, when we saw her, was not. You can see why Maddie didn't want her in her life. Her mother was a drug addict. I can't remember if she cheated on Dale or not. I can't remember why they broke up. But Dale was always the good parent. He was always making sure he was responsible around Maddie, and he taught her well. Alright, for now, I'm going to end the video there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of my favorite characters, where they are so far. And again, this is my first time doing this, so forgive me if I stuttered a lot and seemed like I was pausing a lot. But overall, the whole reason I did this was because I wanted to get my opinions out there. And really, I wanted to learn more about how you guys feel about the show. I want to hear your personal feelings, what you think of characters, and where you think the show is going, where season 4 is going to lead us. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the video here. Again, love the support. If you want me to talk more specifically about characters, what I think about them, name them in the comments below. I always will love to hear what you guys have to say. I don't watch this show with anyone else, nor does anybody really show interest. So whoever you are, if you're out there, you enjoy this show and want to talk about it, go ahead. I would love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day.